Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is cool. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is sexy. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is badass. This game is the rule of cool in video game form. It is everything I want from a pure, unapologetically stylish, cool action game that is only cool for the sake of being cool, and it doesn't need any reason to justify being so freaking cool or justify anything it does. This is arcade mode. It's called Tag Mission. I'm going to be playing in this mode outside of the main campaign just to kind of give y'all a taste of how cool this game looks and how much fun it is to play and how fluid it is. This is one of the best action games ever made. And it's been remade with the Unreal Engine 5. Tecmo just shadow dropped this game about a month ago. And it is amazing. Now, I've played the original, well, not the original Ninja Gaiden 2, but Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma, which was itself a re-release of sorts, back on PS3, way back in, oh god, like 2000, I don't know, 2009 or something. It was a long time ago. But that version had a lot of blood and gore removed, dismemberment removed. It was kind of a sanitized version of the game. And I still had a blast with it. And even at that time, it was still a good-looking game. But this remake, running on Unreal Engine 5, with all the gore and dismemberment put back in the game for the 360 version, this version is... it's absolutely amazing. Like, this game is phenomenal. I was watching a video recently on YouTube of David Jaffe, the creator of God of War. He does YouTube videos now. He does, like, Let's Play stuff, live streams or whatever. And he was playing this game, and it blew him away. It was his first time playing a Ninja Gaiden game, which blew my mind, because the creator of God of War never played Ninja Gaiden? What? But he played it for the first time, and he was blown away by how fun this game is, and how old school it is, and how simple it is. It's not throwing, like, open world mechanics at you, or, you know, trying to have some kind of deep message or themes or anything like that. He compared it to, and I loved this, David Jaffe compared it to a Joel Silver 80s action movie. He compared this to, like, the badassery of, like, watching an 80s action film. And I'm with him on that. Because that's a pretty good description for Ninja Gaiden 2. It really does just feel... it feels like the video game equivalent of that. Like, something that's... it's not trying to... it's not trying to be anything super complex, right? Like, this is a very straightforward, linear, level-to-level, occasional boss fight action game. That's all about looking cool, being stylish, being gory, and most of all, being really fun to play. Everything in this game, from the character designs, to the monsters you fight, to the storyline itself, it only has one purpose, it only has one goal. To be as cool as possible. To be as cool as possible, that's all this game is setting out to do, as you can tell, and that's all it is. That's it. Like, it is not trying to be anything else, and God bless it for that, because it is phenomenal. I'm switching over to my partner character here, Ryu. Again, this is an arcade mode. I would compare it to, like, Mercenaries and Resident Evil. It's like a fun hack and slash arcade mode outside the main campaign, where you can just hack up dudes to get a quick fix, to get a high score. And what's cool about it is it's actually a co-op mode, so you can play this with a friend. But even when you're playing alone, you can switch between the two characters. You can pick any of the characters in the game and just switch between them. That's pretty freaking cool. Because even in the main campaign, you have the option to play, well, not the option, but you get different stages in the game where you switch over to these other characters, not just Ryu Hayabusa over here, the ninja guy. You can play as 3 really cool, badass female characters as well. So the campaign has a lot of variety. Even when you're not switching to the other characters. Yeah, this is one of the best action games ever made. Like, the campaign is loaded with variety. It's loaded with variety. There is a ton of... It's constantly rewarding you with new stages, new environments. One moment you're in Japan, the next minute you're in New York City. There's a level set in, like, a Venice-style city. One has you on the back of a freaking jet. There's just so much variety to the environments, the level design. But the focus is always on the action. It's always just moving from one awesome battle where you're slicing dudes' heads off and shit. Lopping off heads and arms and shit. And, it always just looks so badass and feels so good. It is amazing. The bosses are really epic and awesome. I can't show any of those here because we're in arcade mode, but still, I mean, even just the basic enemies, like, look how fun this is, man. But yeah, the game's constantly rewarding you. You get a ton of weapons you can upgrade, from big swords to nunchuck-style things to freaking... There's even, like, Wolverine-style claws you can have on your hands. It's insane. This game is crazy. You got projectile weapons, like this bow and arrow here. And like I said, it's not just Ryu Hayabusa the ninja, there's also other characters that you play as throughout the campaign and in arcade mode as well. This game is just... It's a party, man. It's a party. I miss action games like this. I miss when video games could just be unapologetically cool and sexy and fun and stylish, and not try to be so grounded and realistic. There's too much of that now in video games, you know? And I mean, we got a little taste of that last year with Stellar Blade, but even that, as much as I loved it, was more of a cross between something like this and a Dark Souls style game. And now, while we're on the subject, I'm really tired of Soulsborne games. I'm really tired of everything ripping off Dark Souls or Bloodborne. You know what this is? This is not a Soulsborne. This is not a Dark Souls style game. And that's another reason why I found it so refreshing. This is quite the opposite of a Souls style game. It's all about just looking badass and feeling badass. Now don't get me wrong, Ninja Gaiden is challenging. It may not look like it in this arcade mode, because I'm just totally wrecking these dudes, but throughout the campaign, there's really challenging boss fights and stuff to fight, but it never gets as hard as like a Dark Souls, or a Bloodborne, or a Sekiro, or anything like that. And don't get me wrong, I love those games, but I'm so worn out on Souls-likes. I'm so tired of those types of games, and it feels so good to play something like this that is fast and stylish, and you can kind of express yourself in combat. It's not just about being methodical and, you know, being more tactical with how you play the game. Like, this is so... Just look at this, man. Look at this. I mean, you don't even need to play this game. You just need to watch somebody playing to know that it's fun. You know what I mean? And that's not always the case these days. So, yeah, like, David Jaffe really did sum it up really well to me, where he's like, yeah, this is like an 80s action movie. It's like, yeah, it really is. It knows what it wants to be, it knows what it is. This is a game with no pretenses whatsoever, other than to be as stylish and cool as possible, to be badass. You know? It's very retro in that sense. But I hate when people, you know, they look at games like this and they call them, like, dated, or, oh, this is, like, kind of out of date, man. This game is too simple, too straightforward. There's no open world, there's no... You know what I mean? Like, there's no tacked-on crafting system or anything like that. Like, no, there isn't. This is just a straightforward, very focused, very polished action game. It's not trying to be anything else, and I love it for that. I absolutely love that this game is like that. And again, you just have a lot of video games nowadays that try to be too realistic, too grounded. They don't, you know, they don't want to just be fun, you know what I mean? And I miss that shit. I really do. I miss when video games could just have cool action heroes and busty babes. Speaking of busty babes, we got one right here. Rachel the Fiend Hunter. Like, why is she dressed like a leather-clad, scantily clad dominatrix? Because why not? You know, I hate when people criticize character designs like this, or criticize games that just want to be stylish and cool, or sexy. You know, like, look at this busty chick with her big-ass hammer, and her cleavage just showing there. Like, people were getting all riled up about Stellar Blade for being that way, and like, look at this chick. Like, this is how games used to be, and nobody batted an eye. Nobody complained about shit. Like, and it all comes down to this. My answer to that, you know, why is she dressed so impractically? Why are these characters so over the top, and, you know, it's not realistic enough or something. It's not practical that you would fight in that outfit. My answer is this: because it's metal, because it's cool, because it is stylized, it is fun. Video games don't have to adhere to reality that much, you know? It's a game. It's a freaking game. She just looks cool. You know, like, I don't... How is any of this happening, you know? How are these monsters taking over cities, and how am I fighting... Well, I'm not fighting monsters right now, but there are monsters in this game. But because we're in the temple right now, we're just fighting humans. But my point is... yeah, like, why? Why is that... It's the rule of cool. That's what I want to bring up in this video. The rule of cool. You know, us anime fans, we know that. We know all about that rule. The rule of cool. If something is cool, if something is stylish, if something just looks really creative and awesome, do you need to question it? Do you need to question why something looks the way it does? Or, oh, why can this character jump this far? Why does this character dress like that? You know, like, it's just, you know, why is this weapon this big? Who can hold a weapon that heavy? Because it's cool. Why not? Games can do this shit, so why not let them do it? Give me extremes, give me over the top, I'm not saying games that strive for a degree of realism is a bad thing necessarily, all the time. But, come on, y'all. Like, are you really gonna argue that this game should be more practical? The game I'm playing right now. That this should be more grounded and realistic. I sincerely hope not. Because you'd be missing the point. The point is, games can be cool and they don't have to justify why they're... Oh, there's monsters in this stage. Let's fight some monsters. Let's see. I'm gonna be Ayane this time. You know, like, this game is just so freaking cool. Like I said, it was shadow dropped last month. Or no, January. It was shadow dropped in January to get people hyped for Ninja Gaiden 4, which comes out later in the year. And I'm so glad this series is back, because I can't think of a better example of, like... Not only does it give us a break from the Soulsborne genre, because man, I really want to see more games, you know, take a break from that shit. But also, it's a reminder that, like, man, I want more video games, you know, with this level of graphical fidelity that isn't trying so hard to be grounded and practical or hyper-realistic necessarily. I want fun. I want crazy monsters and crazy outfits and buxom babes and heroic ninja dudes and, you know, I want that back, you know? Ninja Gaiden is a perfect example of what video games used to be all about, that we don't see as much anymore. That's all I'm trying to say. It's kind of like a dead breed, you know, that was, aside from stuff like Devil May Cry 5 back in 2019, or the recent Bayonetta games, or... But those are just a few scant examples of games that kind of... And even they, I don't think are quite as pure an example as Ninja Gaiden. Like, it's hard to get much more pure when it comes to this kind of cool retro-style action game. It's hard to get more, like, pure than this. You know? It really is. This is it. This is the pinnacle. You know? And, yeah, I want to see more games like this. More games that take me back to the early 2000s. You know? But not necessarily just stylish action games. But just this kind of fun. I want to see it return. I want to see it return. I mean, I like all different kinds of video games. I'm super hyped for stuff like Death Stranding 2 to come out this year, and you know, there's other types of games that I love to play and that I'm looking forward to that have deep themes and storytelling and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes you don't want any of that. Sometimes you just want to be a badass ninja girl or guy that slashes up monsters, cuts off their arms and heads. It looks really cool doing it. Sometimes that's all I want in a video game, you know? And that's all Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is. It's out now for PlayStation 5 and Xbox. And, I mean, if you want to deal with the headache, you could play the PC version as well, but I wouldn't recommend that, personally. Yeah, it's like $50, which might sound like a lot for a remake of a game from 2008, but trust me when I say the graphical update alone is enough, because this game is flawless. There's nothing about it that is aged. It's aged like fine wine. The controls are hyper fluid and responsive. It's still gorgeous. Running now in Unreal Engine 5, it looks better than ever. It's just such a good game, man. There's a ton of content. It's a big, long, awesome campaign with several memorable bosses, and it's just so good. It's just so good. Look, I'm fighting a werewolf. There's werewolves in this game, okay? There's werewolves in this game. What more do you need? Do I need to convince you anymore? You can pop the heads off of werewolves. There. That's my recommendation for Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. Buy this game. It's really good. It's really good, y'all. Anyway, you get to burning and live for the passion. Bye-bye.